There are places in this world that defy explanation. Ancient structures too massive to be moved with primitive tools, mysterious artifacts that challenge what we think we know about history, and entire civilizations that vanished without a trace. These aren't myths or legends. These are real, documented mysteries that archaeologists and historians still struggle to understand. How were they built? Who made them? And perhaps the most unsettling question of all, what else is still out there, waiting to be found? From colossal stone blocks no modern crane could lift, to civilizations buried beneath the ocean, today we're diving deep into some of the strangest unsolved mysteries of the ancient world. So sit back, relax, grab a snack, and let's jump into the mysteries where history itself seems to break apart. Baalbek is one of those places that seems to defy explanation. Nestled in modern-day Lebanon, this ancient site is famous for its towering Roman temples, built to honor Jupiter, Venus, and Bacchus. But as impressive as those ruins are, they sit on something far older, something far stranger, the Baalbek Megaliths. These stones are impossibly massive. The largest among them, known as the Trilithon, consists of 3 limestone blocks, each weighing between 800 and 1,000 tons. They are placed perfectly, stacked 12 meters above the ground with no visible mortar, as if they were gently lowered into place. But the real mystery is the stone of the pregnant woman, an even larger block weighing an estimated 1,200 tons. It still lies abandoned in the quarry, seemingly carved and ready to be moved, except no one knows how that could have been possible. Theories about how these stones were transported and placed range from conventional to controversial. The mainstream belief is that the Romans were responsible. After all, they were master builders, constructing aqueducts, temples, and roads that have stood for thousands of years. Some historians suggest that they had the means to move the megaliths using cranes, pulleys, and sheer manpower. But there's a problem with this explanation. No known Roman engineering feats come close to moving stones of this size. Even their most advanced construction projects never attempted to lift anything close to 1,000 tons. It's as if they built their temples on top of something far older. That's why some researchers believe Baalbek predates the Romans entirely. Some accounts suggest that the site was originally built by the Phoenicians, an ancient maritime civilization that once ruled the Mediterranean. Others push the timeline even further back, claiming that the site is pre-Phoenician, meaning it could be thousands of years older than recorded history suggests. If true, that would mean a lost civilization, not Rome, was responsible for moving these stones. But if that's the case, who were they? And more importantly, how did they do it? There are those who believe Baalbek was built using a lost form of ancient technology. Perhaps the builders had an advanced understanding of counterweights, pressure manipulation, or even sound frequencies that could make heavy objects easier to move. Some speculate that the answer lies in forgotten techniques, methods of construction that have been erased by time, lost before they could ever be written down. If we knew how they did it, what else might we discover about the ancient world? And then there's the most controversial theory of all, that Baalbek stones were moved with the help of something beyond human ability. Ancient astronaut theorists have pointed to the sheer size and impossible precision of the megaliths, suggesting that Baalbek may have once been a landing site for extraterrestrial visitors. Some believe that its position, its alignment, and its construction indicate that it was more than just a temple. It was something older, something built for a purpose we don't yet understand. There's no solid evidence for this, but the idea has persisted for decades. What we do know is this: no one has ever successfully explained how these stones were moved. They remain one of the greatest engineering puzzles of the ancient world. If a civilization thousands of years ago had the capability to transport and position them, what else were they capable of? And what other secrets could still be hidden beneath the ruins of Baalbek? But Baalbek isn't the only mystery that forces us to rethink what we know about history. The past is filled with impossible artifacts, things that shouldn't exist, but do. And next, we move to one of the most debated pieces of evidence ever discovered, a 16th century map that appears to show Antarctica without ice. Before we dive into the next mystery, just a quick note. While the visuals in this video will provide extra context, they aren't necessary to enjoy the stories. Feel free to let this play in the background while you work, relax, or even fall asleep to these eerie unsolved mysteries. And if you'd like to support me making these videos and get access to exclusive stories and all of our videos ad-free, consider becoming a Patreon member. The link is in the comments below. Now, back to the stories. The Piri Reis map is an anomaly in historical cartography. Discovered in 1929 by German theologian Gustav Deissmann in the archives of Istanbul's Topkapi Palace, the map had been tucked away for centuries, forgotten in a dusty stack of old documents. Upon closer examination, it was revealed to be the work of Piri Reis, an Ottoman admiral, navigator, and cartographer who created it in 1513. At first glance, it seemed like a typical early 16th century world map, detailing the coastlines of Europe, Africa, and the newly discovered Americas. But the more researchers studied it, the more it became clear. This was no ordinary map. What makes the Piri Reis map so controversial is a particular landmass drawn along its lower edge. Many believe this landmass is Antarctica, yet there's a problem. Antarctica wasn't officially discovered until 1820. More than 300 years after the map was made. Even more puzzling, the landmass is depicted not as the frozen wasteland we know today, but with detailed coastlines and topographical features, as if it had been mapped when it was free of ice. Modern geological studies suggest that Antarctica may have been ice-free more than 6,000 years ago, long before any known civilization was capable of such precise cartography. How did Piri Reis know about this? The admiral himself left some clues in handwritten notes scrawled along the margins of the map. He claimed that his work was not original, but was compiled from multiple older sources, some dating back to the time of Alexander the Great. He referenced maps taken from 20 ancient charts and 8 new maps of the Arabs and Hindus. If true, this would mean that Piri Reis had access to knowledge passed down from far older civilizations, perhaps ones with seafaring capabilities far beyond what we previously believed. Some theorists argue that the Piri Reis map is evidence of an advanced, lost civilization, one that mapped the world in astonishing detail long before recorded history. They suggest that fragments of this knowledge survived the collapse of ancient societies and were later incorporated into Renaissance-era maps by explorers and cartographers who had no idea of their true origins. This theory is supported by the fact that other medieval and Renaissance maps, such as the Orontius Phineas map and the Zeno map, also depict landmasses resembling Antarctica with surprising accuracy. Others believe that the map has been misinterpreted. Some scholars argue that what appears to be Antarctica is actually an incorrect rendering of South America. Mapmakers of the 16th century often distorted coastlines due to the way they compiled their charts from scattered reports and second-hand accounts. Some parts of the world were stretched or compressed to fit the limited knowledge of the time, leading to inaccuracies that might explain the apparent presence of Antarctica. Another possibility is that early sailors, possibly from Phoenician, Chinese, or even pre-Columbian European civilizations, traveled much further than history acknowledges, documenting coastlines that were later lost to time. If so, the Piri Reis map could be a remnant of an ancient navigational tradition that has since disappeared, leaving only tantalizing hints behind. Despite decades of study, no definitive answer has emerged. Did Piri Reis unknowingly preserve the last echoes of a lost civilization? Or is this simply a case of cartographic error, a trick of distorted geography that only appears mysterious in hindsight? Whatever the truth, the Piri Reis map remains one of history's most enduring puzzles, a document that continues to challenge everything we thought we knew about the past. But the Piri Reis map is not the only ancient mystery that challenges what we thought we knew about history. Thousands of years before Piri Reis put ink to parchment, an even greater enigma was being carved into stone, one that defies our understanding of early civilization itself. In southeastern Turkey, buried beneath layers of earth for millennia, lies Göbekli Tepe, a site so ancient that it predates the invention of writing, the Great Pyramids, and even the first known cities. Yet, its intricate carvings and massive stone pillars suggest a level of organization and skill that shouldn't have existed at the time. How was it built, and why was it buried? Let's take a closer look at one of the most mysterious archaeological discoveries in history. Göbekli Tepe is unlike anything else we've found in the ancient world. Tucked away in the rolling hills of southeastern Turkey, this site remained hidden beneath the earth for thousands of years, until a chance discovery in the 1960s hinted that something was buried there. But at the time, no one could have guessed what lay beneath. It wasn't until the 1990s, when German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt began excavations, that the true scale of Göbekli Tepe was revealed. What he uncovered would challenge everything we thought we knew about early civilization. Rising from the earth were massive circular stone enclosures, each containing towering limestone pillars arranged with precise intention. Some stood nearly 20 feet tall, weighing up to 20 tons each. But what was even more astonishing were the intricate carvings, animals, symbols, and humanoid figures etched into the stone. The level of craftsmanship and planning was undeniable. Yet, here was the problem. Göbekli Tepe is at least 12,000 years old, dating back to around 9,600 BCE. That makes it the oldest known temple complex in the world, predating Stonehenge by over 6,000 years and the Great Pyramid by more than 7,000. At that time, humans were thought to be simple hunter-gatherers, living in small, mobile groups, with no cities, no agriculture, and certainly no ability to construct megalithic structures. Some researchers believe these animals may have had symbolic meanings, perhaps representing spiritual or mythological concepts. Others suggest they were warnings, signs of something dangerous or sacred. The site's layout itself is strange, with no evidence of permanent living spaces, making it unlikely to be a settlement. Instead, many believe Göbekli Tepe was a ceremonial site, a place of worship or ritual. Some suggest it could have been a gathering place where early humans came together for religious ceremonies, feasts, or even astronomical observations. The alignment of the site with certain stars hints at a possible connection to celestial movements, much like later megalithic structures across the world. But here's where the mystery deepens. At some point, Göbekli Tepe was deliberately buried. The enclosures were filled in with dirt and debris, carefully covered as if to hide or preserve them. But why? Was it abandoned? Was it deemed too sacred, too dangerous? And who decided to erase it from history? One of the leading theories is that Göbekli Tepe played a crucial role in the transition from a hunter-gatherer society to an agricultural one. Some researchers believe that the effort required to construct and maintain the site may have led to early forms of organized labor and permanent settlements. In other words, civilization may have begun not with farming, but with religion. Another theory suggests that Göbekli Tepe was built by a forgotten, advanced society, one that existed before the known rise of agriculture. Some researchers point to the possibility of a lost civilization, one wiped out by a global catastrophe, such as the end of the last ice age. The Younger Dryas impact hypothesis, for example, proposes that a comet or asteroid struck Earth around 12,800 years ago, triggering sudden climate shifts and massive flooding. Some believe this event could have wiped out an early advanced culture, leaving behind only ruins like Göbekli Tepe as remnants of their existence. But there's also the possibility that Göbekli Tepe was a product of a highly skilled group of hunter-gatherers, one that simply defies our expectations of what early humans were capable of. Maybe the knowledge required to build this site existed long before we thought, passed down through generations in ways we can't yet understand. If Göbekli Tepe was indeed a temple, it would mean that early humans developed religious or spiritual beliefs long before they settled into farming communities. The structure suggests large-scale cooperation, meaning that different groups must have worked together to build it. But what were they worshipping? Some researchers believe the carvings on the pillars could represent constellations, linking the site to the stars and celestial events. Others think it may have been a burial site, or a place of ancestral reverence, where rituals honoring the dead took place. One of the strangest discoveries at the site was the complete lack of tools or artifacts associated with daily life. Unlike other ancient sites, there are no signs of pottery, permanent dwellings, or domestic structures. This has led to speculation that Göbekli Tepe was never meant to be lived in. It was always a place set apart, meant for something greater than day-to-day survival. Göbekli Tepe forces archaeologists to reconsider the timeline of human development. If our ancestors could construct such a complex site thousands of years before the first cities appeared, what else were they capable of? And if this knowledge existed so early, where did it come from? Some believe Göbekli Tepe is just the beginning, that other sites, possibly even older, are waiting to be discovered. Could this be a missing link in our history, evidence of an ancient forgotten knowledge that predates everything we know? Despite decades of excavation, Göbekli Tepe still holds more secrets than answers. Every layer unearthed raises new questions, and with each new discovery, history as we know it continues to shift. And just like the builders of this mysterious site, ancient civilizations have left behind structures that defy explanation all across the world. Some, carved from solid rock, seem almost impossible even by today's standards. Göbekli Tepe is proof that the past holds secrets we never expected. But sometimes, those secrets aren't found in ancient temples or massive stone structures. Sometimes they're hidden in ink, written down centuries ago, but locked away behind an unbreakable code. A book filled with symbols no one has ever deciphered. A text that doesn't match any known language. And a mystery that has confounded scholars, cryptographers, and linguists for over 200 years. This is the Rohonc Codex, one of the strangest unsolved puzzles in history. The story of the Rohonc Codex begins in Hungary, but its origins stretch back much further. The manuscript first surfaced in the early 19th century, when it was donated to the Hungarian Academy of Sciences by a nobleman named Gustav Batthyány. The book had been part of his family's private collection, but how it got there, no one knows. It's not a large book, just 448 pages, each filled with a strange, unknown script. The pages are filled with dense writing, written from left to right, line after line of cryptic symbols. At first glance, it looks like a medieval manuscript, maybe a religious or historical text. But here's the problem. No one can read it. The alphabet doesn't match any known language. The characters appear completely unique, over 200 individual symbols, more than any known written script. And the deeper researchers looked, the stranger it got. It's not just the writing that's baffling. The Rohonc Codex also contains illustrations, detailed sketches depicting religious scenes, battles, cityscapes, and figures that appear to be saints, kings, and warriors. Some images look like Christian iconography, while others hint at Islamic and Hindu influences, an odd mix for a single manuscript. The artwork raises even more questions. The depictions of medieval life suggest that the book was created sometime between the 15th and 18th centuries. But the mix of religious imagery is confusing. If it were a Christian text, why include elements of Eastern traditions? If it were Islamic or Hindu in nature, why does it contain crosses? Whatever its purpose, one thing is certain. This book wasn't meant to be forgotten. The writing is meticulous, the illustrations carefully placed. Whoever created it wanted it to be understood. But for centuries, it has remained locked behind its cryptic script. For over 200 years, scholars have tried to crack the Rohonc Codex. Linguists, historians, mathematicians, even military codebreakers, all have failed. One of the first serious efforts to decode the book came in the 19th century when Hungarian scholars examined it alongside other known languages from the region: Hungarian, Latin, Romanian, even Sanskrit. But nothing matched. Later, in the 20th century, experts turned to frequency analysis, a technique used to break ciphers by identifying recurring patterns in the text. But even this led nowhere. The symbols in the codex don't follow the normal patterns of language. Some words repeat, some characters appear more frequently than others, but not in a way that resembles any known grammar structure. It's as if the entire book was written in a lost language, or worse, complete nonsense. Over the years, many theories have emerged about the Rohonc Codex. Some are grounded in historical possibility, others are far more speculative. One theory suggests that the book is a religious text, possibly from a secret Christian sect. The mix of religious imagery could indicate a hybrid faith, blending elements from different traditions. But if that's the case, why would the script be completely unrecognizable? Others believe it could be a forgotten language, a dialect from a small community that disappeared long ago. Some historians have speculated that it might be connected to the Szekely-Hungarian Rovas script, an old form of writing once used in Hungary. But even this doesn't match the structure of the Codex. Then there's the theory that the book is a hoax. Some skeptics believe the Rohonc Codex isn't an ancient mystery at all, but rather an elaborate fake. They point out that the script seems too random, lacking the structure found in real languages. The symbols don't follow natural linguistic patterns, making some researchers believe it was made up. If true, that raises another question. Why? Was it a prank? A 19th century forgery meant to trick historians? A nobleman's attempt to create an ancient-looking relic? If that's the case, the creator went to extraordinary lengths to make it convincing. But here's the problem. No one has ever proven it's fake. Forgery or not, the Rohonc Codex remains a puzzle. If it's meaningless, why go to the trouble of writing 448 pages of text? Why include detailed illustrations? If someone invented the script, why use over 200 unique characters, far more than any known language? And most importantly, if it's a hoax, why has no one been able to definitively prove it? Despite countless efforts, the Rohonc Codex remains undeciphered. Modern technology has analyzed it, but still, no one has been able to read a single sentence. It now sits in Budapest, stored in the Hungarian Academy of Sciences, where it continues to baffle anyone who tries to make sense of it. Was it a lost language? A secret code? A prank from history? No one knows. And until someone finally cracks its meaning, the Rohonc Codex will remain one of history's strangest and most impenetrable mysteries. But it's not the only lost knowledge that haunts historians. Sometimes, the truth isn't hidden in a book, but in stone, buried beneath the earth, far away from prying eyes. The Rohonc Codex is a book no one can read, a mystery trapped within its undeciphered symbols. But while the Rohonc Codex challenges what we know about ancient texts, our next mystery delves into something even more elusive, a structure so massive, so carefully hidden, that even today, its existence remains shrouded in secrecy. Deep in the heart of China, hidden beneath layers of soil and vegetation, lies a pyramid that is said to be larger than any in Egypt, a monument deliberately concealed from the outside world. Could this be the lost tomb of an unknown emperor, or is it something even more extraordinary? Up next, the White Pyramid of China. Hidden deep within the remote landscapes of China's Shanxi province, a series of enormous pyramidal structures has sparked decades of speculation, secrecy, and intrigue. These are not just hills or natural formations, as some might assume at first glance. These are ancient pyramids, eerily reminiscent of those found in Egypt and Mesoamerica, yet shrouded in mystery and largely unknown to the world. Unlike the Great Pyramids of Giza, which stand proudly against the desert skyline, China's pyramids have been deliberately concealed by the government, planted over with trees, covered with soil, and left to be forgotten. At the heart of this enigma is the so-called White Pyramid of China, a structure so immense that if the accounts are to be believed, it may dwarf even the Great Pyramid of Giza in scale. But why would such a monument be kept hidden? What secrets could it hold beneath its layers of earth and secrecy? The first widely known report of the White Pyramid surfaced in 1945 at the tail end of World War II. U.S. Air Force pilot James Gaussman was flying a reconnaissance mission over China when he spotted an enormous, gleaming white structure rising from the landscape below. According to his account, the pyramid appeared to be made of a bright, reflective material, possibly metal or some kind of stone, and was unlike anything he had ever seen. Gaussman's description was detailed. He claimed the structure had smooth, perfectly symmetrical sides and stood at an estimated height of at least 1,000 feet, which, if true, would make it significantly larger than Egypt's Great Pyramid. Upon returning to base, he documented what he had seen, even sketching out the structure, but his report was quickly buried, lost in military archives, and dismissed as an unverified anomaly. The story might have ended there if not for another sighting several years later. In 1947, another American pilot, Colonel Maurice Shahan, reported seeing a similar massive white pyramid while flying over China. This time, the claim made it into newspapers, with a report appearing in the New York Times. Once again, the structure was described as larger than anything known at the time, with smooth, sloping sides and an almost otherworldly appearance. Despite these compelling accounts, no photographic evidence from these flights has ever surfaced, leading some to question whether these pilots were mistaken or if what they saw was deliberately erased from the public record. What is known, however, is that the region they described is indeed home to numerous ancient pyramid-like structures, most of which remain unexplored. Unlike the well-documented pyramids of Egypt, China's pyramids have been kept in the shadows, with minimal excavation and even less public acknowledgement. The Chinese government has long been reluctant to allow foreign researchers access to these sites, and some believe this secrecy is no coincidence. The Chinese pyramids, including the elusive White Pyramid, are believed to be burial mounds for ancient emperors, dating back to the Western Han Dynasty and possibly even earlier. These emperors, much like the pharaohs of Egypt, were buried with vast treasures, intricate tombs, and elaborate artifacts meant to accompany them into the afterlife. One of the most famous examples of this is the tomb of Emperor Qin Shi Huang, located near Xi'an, which houses the legendary Terracotta Army. Despite being one of the most significant archaeological sites in the world, the main burial chamber of Qin Shi Huang remains completely sealed to this day, with archaeologists hesitant to open it due to high levels of toxic mercury reported in the area. Some researchers speculate that the White Pyramid could be an even grander burial site, potentially belonging to an emperor whose name has been lost to history. The reluctance to excavate these pyramids may stem from both practical and cultural reasons. Chinese authorities have often cited concerns over preservation, arguing that opening these sites too soon could lead to irreversible damage. Others, however, believe the secrecy runs deeper, that there is something within these pyramids that the government does not want the world to see. Some of the more speculative theories suggest that the White Pyramid could be evidence of an advanced ancient civilization, one with knowledge or technology that predates what we currently understand. There have even been whispers of extraterrestrial connections, fueled by the descriptions of the structure as unnaturally smooth and highly reflective. While such theories remain firmly in the realm of speculation, they persist due to the sheer lack of access to the site. Even today, satellite images confirm the existence of large, pyramid-like structures scattered throughout the region, some covered with dense forestry, others barely distinguishable from the surrounding hills. These images provide tantalizing clues, yet without on-the-ground excavation, their full significance remains unknown. Adding to the mystery are the accounts of local villagers, who have long spoken of strange happenings in the region. Some tell stories of unusual lights appearing near the pyramids at night, while others claim that for generations, there have been legends warning people to stay away from the ancient mounds. Could these accounts be simple folklore? Or is there something buried beneath these structures that modern science has yet to uncover? Some historians suggest that these pyramids may hold lost historical records, scrolls, or artifacts that could rewrite our understanding of early Chinese civilization. Unlike Egypt, where hieroglyphics have provided a direct link to the past, many of China's ancient texts have been lost over time, particularly during periods of political upheaval. If these pyramids contain well-preserved writings or objects from thousands of years ago, they could provide insights into a forgotten chapter of human history. The true nature of the White Pyramid, if it exists in the form described by the pilots, remains one of archaeology's greatest unknowns. Despite repeated attempts by independent researchers to gain access to the region, China has remained firm in restricting excavation. Whether this is due to national heritage concerns, government policy, or the presence of something that defies explanation, we may never know. What is clear, however, is that China's pyramids are real, and their secrets remain buried beneath centuries of earth, waiting to be uncovered. If the White Pyramid is indeed hidden among them, it could be one of the greatest archaeological discoveries of all time, Or it could be a mystery that is destined to remain unsolved. While the White Pyramid remains an enigma, China is also home to another mystery, just as baffling, one that isn't hidden in the mountains, but underground. In the Zhejiang province, deep beneath the earth, lies a series of immense, perfectly carved stone chambers. No historical records mention their construction, no tools have been found, and their purpose remains completely unknown. These are the Longyou caves. Hidden beneath the rolling hills of Zhejiang province in China, the Longyou caves are one of the most perplexing archaeological discoveries ever made. Unlike the natural limestone caves scattered throughout China, these caverns are entirely man-made. Vast underground chambers carved with near-perfect symmetry, intricate patterns, and an engineering precision that defies logic. What makes them even more mysterious is that no historical records mention their construction. No blueprints, no tools, no writings, nothing. It's as if an entire civilization built them and then erased all evidence of how or why they existed. And to this day, no one knows who created them, how they did it, or what purpose they served. The discovery of the caves was entirely accidental. In 1992, a local farmer, curious about the deep pools of water scattered across his village, decided to drain one. As the water receded, what emerged stunned him. Massive, smooth-walled chambers extending deep into the earth, unlike anything he had ever seen. Soon, other villagers followed suit, draining more pools, only to find more hidden chambers below. What they had uncovered was an underground complex spanning an estimated 30,000 square meters, each cavern meticulously carved from solid sandstone. To put it into perspective, the caves are so vast that if combined, they would cover the area of roughly 4 football fields. The ceilings soar up to 30 meters, 98 feet, high, supported by evenly spaced stone pillars, and the walls are covered in a uniform pattern of chiseled markings, marks that seem too precise to be made with rudimentary hand tools. What makes the Longyou caves so baffling is the sheer scale of labor that must have gone into their construction. Archaeologists estimate that nearly 1 million cubic meters of rock would have had to be excavated to create the caverns. If this was done with the tools available in ancient China, it would have taken thousands of workers working day and night for years, possibly decades. Yet, as advanced as the caves appear, no tools or construction materials have ever been found. There are no remains of workers, no leftover chisel marks from different stages of construction, and no debris from the excavation process. Where did all the displaced rock go? How did they move it? And why do the caves appear so immaculate, as if they were abandoned immediately after completion? Adding to the mystery is the fact that the caves are not randomly distributed. Each chamber is positioned with careful alignment, as if part of a much larger, interconnected system. Some researchers speculate that the caves may have been used for storage, military purposes, or even as secret meeting places for an unknown group. Others suggest they may have had a spiritual or ceremonial function, perhaps linked to an ancient belief system long forgotten. Some believe they were once underground palaces, or residences of a ruling elite. But without any inscriptions, artifacts, or evidence of habitation, all of these remain theories, with no definitive answers. One of the most peculiar aspects of the Longyou caves is their structural integrity. Despite being thousands of years old, dating back at least to the Qin dynasty in the 3rd century BC if not earlier, the walls show no signs of erosion or collapse. Unlike many ancient structures that deteriorate over time, the caves remain remarkably intact, as if they were built to last indefinitely. The precision with which they were carved suggests an understanding of engineering far beyond what should have been possible at the time. Some have compared the caves to modern-day underground bunkers, capable of withstanding natural disasters, seismic activity, and even potential invaders. But if they were meant for protection, who or what were they hiding from? Another aspect that fuels speculation is the striking uniformity of the chisel marks found throughout the caves. These markings are consistent across all chambers, covering walls, pillars, and ceilings in a symmetrical, almost decorative fashion. The precision of the carvings suggests an advanced construction technique, possibly even a lost technology. Some have theorized that these marks were not made with traditional hand tools, but by a more sophisticated method. Perhaps a lost ancient machine or technique unknown to modern archaeology. Others have drawn comparisons to megalithic sites around the world, noting that civilizations separated by vast distances have often exhibited similar unexplained feats of engineering. Some theories venture into more unorthodox territory, suggesting that the Longyou caves were built using sound frequencies or some form of ancient vibrational technology that softened the stone, allowing for easier excavation. While this may sound far-fetched, modern experiments have shown that sound waves can affect the structural integrity of materials. Could the ancient builders of Longyou have known something that we do not? Others speculate that the caves may have once been filled with water intentionally, serving as reservoirs or even reflecting pools for celestial observations. Some of the cave floors contain sunken channels, almost as if they were designed for the movement of water, yet no irrigation systems have ever been found. Were the caves meant to be flooded? If so, what was their function when submerged? Despite various excavation attempts, archaeologists remain baffled. No bones, no pottery, no writings. Nothing has been discovered to link the caves to a specific group or purpose. The complete absence of historical references is particularly strange, given China's extensive written records. If such a massive project was undertaken, why does no document, legend, or historical text mention it? In a country with a rich history of documentation, something as significant as the creation of these vast underground chambers should have left some trace, yet it hasn't. As the mystery deepens, so does the curiosity of those who visit the site. Some believe the answer lies beneath the still unexplored sections of the caves, hidden behind yet-to-be excavated walls or deep within the surrounding hills. If more chambers exist, could they finally provide the missing clues to who built Longyou and why? Some archaeologists have suggested scanning the area with ground-penetrating radar in hopes of detecting additional structures that could shed light on the enigma. But for now, the caves remain a silent riddle, their creators lost to time. Longyou is not the only unexplained structure in China. Deep in the heart of Alexandria, another ancient mystery remained buried for centuries, a black sarcophagus sealed shut for over 2,000 years. When it was finally opened in 2018, no one was prepared for what was inside. Let's dive into the story of the Black Sarcophagus of Alexandria. Beneath the busy streets of Alexandria, Egypt, a discovery in 2018 captured global attention. A massive black sarcophagus, sealed for over 2,000 years, was unearthed by construction workers. Unlike the ornate tombs of pharaohs, this one was completely black, unmarked, and undisturbed. It was the largest sealed sarcophagus ever found in Alexandria, and no one knew what was inside. Some believed it could hold the remains of Alexander the Great. Others thought it might belong to an unknown noble or military leader, but when archaeologists opened it, the reality was far stranger than anyone expected. Alexandria has always been a city full of mysteries. Founded by Alexander the Great in 331 BCE, much of its ancient history is lost beneath the modern city and the waters of the Mediterranean. But every now and then, something buried for centuries comes to light. The Black Sarcophagus was found during routine excavation in the Sidi Gabr district, an area known for its archaeological significance. The moment construction workers hit something solid beneath the ground, it was clear this was not an ordinary find. The sarcophagus was enormous, 9 feet long, over 5 feet wide, and standing more than 6 feet tall. It was made entirely of black granite and sealed with an unusually thick layer of mortar, which meant it had remained completely untouched since ancient times. Given its size and the effort taken to seal it, archaeologists speculated that it had to contain someone of great importance. Some even suggested it could finally be the lost tomb of Alexander the Great, whose burial site has never been found. Since he built the city that bears his name, many have speculated that he was laid to rest somewhere beneath it. But there was another theory, one that made some hesitant about disturbing the tomb. The idea that ancient tombs carry curses isn't new, and stories of misfortune following their opening have been told for centuries. From the so-called Curse of King Tut to unexplained deaths surrounding other tomb discoveries, there was no shortage of eerie speculation. Some locals even warned that opening the sarcophagus would unleash something ancient and dangerous. Despite the warnings, archaeologists proceeded. The world was watching, and the possibility of a major historical find was too great to ignore. But opening the sarcophagus wasn't easy. The sheer weight of the lid, estimated at over 15 tons, required heavy machinery to lift. The moment it was pried open, an unbearable stench filled the air. Inside, instead of treasures or a well-preserved mummy, the team found something disturbing. The sarcophagus was filled with a murky red liquid, and floating in it were the skeletal remains of 3 individuals. The liquid was a mix of groundwater and decomposed human remains, which had seeped in over centuries and created a grim, decayed sludge. The skeletons belonged to 2 men and 1 woman, but beyond that, little was immediately clear. What stood out was the lack of any markings, inscriptions, or artifacts, unusual for a tomb of this size. Most Egyptian burials included objects meant to accompany the dead into the afterlife, but this one had nothing. That absence only deepened the mystery. Who were these people? Why were they buried in such a massive, unmarked sarcophagus? And why had it been so securely sealed? Once the discovery was made public, wild theories began to spread. Some people believed the liquid inside had supernatural properties, leading to bizarre requests from individuals claiming they wanted to drink it to gain mystical powers. Others speculated that the burial was part of a lost ritual, possibly a failed attempt at mummification or a punishment of some kind. More rational explanations pointed to the possibility that the individuals inside were high-ranking military officials or nobles. The sheer size of the tomb suggested status, but the lack of inscriptions or burial objects suggested something unusual about the way they were interred. One theory suggested that they may have died suddenly, perhaps in an epidemic or battle, leading to a rushed and unceremonious burial. Another possibility is that the sarcophagus had been repurposed, originally intended for someone important, but later used as a communal grave. Despite all the speculation, no definitive answers were found. The skeletons were removed for further study, and the sarcophagus was transported for preservation. While it didn't contain Alexander the Great, it remains one of the most mysterious tombs uncovered in recent history. Its size, its unsettling contents, and the questions surrounding its purpose make it a discovery unlike any other. But Egypt isn't the only place where strange, ancient relics have surfaced. In a library in the Czech Republic sits a book so large and unusual that legend claims it was written with the help of the devil himself. Up next, the Devil's Bible, a book so massive, so detailed, and so unusual that for centuries, people believed it could not have been written by human hands alone. A book that carries a dark legend, that it was created with the help of the devil himself. This is the story of the Codex Gigas, more famously known as the Devil's Bible. The Codex Gigas is unlike any other medieval manuscript. It stands nearly 3 feet tall, weighs over 165 pounds, and is bound in wood and leather. But its size isn't the only thing that makes it mysterious. The book contains a full Latin Bible, historical texts, medical knowledge, and exorcism rituals, all meticulously written in perfect, uniform handwriting. And at the heart of it, there's something even stranger: a chilling, full-page portrait of the devil. The Devil's Bible was created in the early 13th century, likely in a Benedictine monastery in what is now the Czech Republic. But who wrote it, and why, remains a mystery. The most famous legend tied to the book is one that has fascinated historians and paranormal enthusiasts alike. According to medieval accounts, the Codex Gigas was written by a monk who committed a terrible crime. As punishment, he was sentenced to be walled up alive, left to die in total isolation. Desperate to escape his fate, he made a plea. He promised to create the largest and most magnificent book the world had ever seen, one that would glorify God and contain all the knowledge of humanity, and he would do it in a single night. The task was impossible, even for the most skilled scribe. But as the night went on, the monk realized he wouldn't finish in time. Facing death, he turned to the only being who could help him, Satan. The story claims that he made a pact with the devil, offering his soul in exchange for the book's completion. By morning, the Codex Gigas was done, perfectly written and flawless in design. And as a mark of their deal, the monk dedicated an entire page to his new master, drawing a terrifying full-body image of the devil. It's a compelling legend, but could there be any truth behind it? One of the most baffling aspects of the Codex Gigas is its uniform handwriting. Experts have analyzed every page and found that the text appears to be the work of a single individual. There are no noticeable differences in style, no interruptions in the flow of the ink. And according to modern estimates, writing a book of this size by hand should have taken at least 25 to 30 years. Yet, the consistency suggests it was completed in an incredibly short period. How could one person have written all of it with such precision? The book's contents are also strange. Alongside biblical texts, it includes forbidden knowledge, grimoires detailing exorcisms, medical remedies, and even writings about demonology. Some believe this mixture of sacred and arcane knowledge points to something more than just religious devotion. The devil's portrait only deepens the mystery. It is unlike any other religious artwork from the time, showing Satan in a crouched position, with clawed fingers, an elongated tongue, and glowing red eyes. Some believe the drawing itself carries an ominous presence, while others speculate it was a warning, a message left behind by the monk about the price he paid. But if the book wasn't created through supernatural means, how did one person manage such an enormous task? One theory is that the monk behind the Codex Gigas may have been suffering from a form of obsession or compulsion, what we might call hypergraphia today, an uncontrollable urge to write. Some researchers believe he may have been in a form of religious isolation, dedicating his life entirely to the manuscript. Another theory is that it was a collaborative effort, with later editions being carefully disguised to maintain the illusion of a single author. However, there is no evidence of multiple contributors, no shifts in handwriting, no changes in ink or style, and no corrections made over time. This has led some to suggest that the monk truly did work alone, possibly for decades, possibly under some unknown force driving him forward. The Codex Gigas also has a history of misfortune. Throughout the centuries, it has been looted, stolen, and moved across multiple countries. It was once kept in the Royal Library of Sweden, where it survived a massive fire. Witnesses claim that when the library caught fire in the 17th century, the book was thrown from a window to save it. It landed safely below, barely damaged, while much of the library burned. Some took this as a sign that the book was protected by something. Today, the Devil's Bible is kept in the National Library of Sweden under controlled conditions. Scholars continue to study its pages, but it still holds secrets that may never be fully understood. Who wrote it? How did they do it? And why did they dedicate an entire page to the devil? The answers remain lost in time. The Codex Gigas is a mystery locked within pages of ink and parchment. But not all mysteries are written down. Some are carved into the earth itself, hidden beneath layers of time, waiting to be uncovered. The next mystery is not about a single artifact or a cryptic book. It's about an entire civilization that simply disappeared. A culture that flourished for thousands of years before vanishing, leaving behind only fragments of its existence and a burning question: what happened to the Clovis people? The Clovis culture is one of the most puzzling chapters in North American prehistory. It dates back around 13,000 years, making it one of the oldest known civilizations on the continent. The Clovis people were skilled hunters, known for their distinct Clovis points, carefully crafted spearheads found across North America. These tools, made from flint and stone, were so advanced that they suggest a society with shared knowledge, trade networks, and a deep understanding of the land. For centuries, archaeologists believed that the Clovis people were the first humans to set foot in the Americas, arriving via the Bering Land Bridge from Siberia. But then, they vanished. Almost overnight, Their presence disappeared from the archaeological record, leaving behind no clear explanation for why an entire civilization collapsed. The discovery of the Clovis culture traces back to the early 20th century, when distinctive spear points were found in Clovis, New Mexico, giving the civilization its name. These tools were buried alongside the remains of Ice Age animals like mammoths and bison, suggesting that the Clovis were skilled big-game hunters who thrived in the harsh conditions of the last Ice Age. As more Clovis sites were uncovered across the United States, Canada, and even parts of South America, it became clear that this was not a small, isolated group. The Clovis people were widespread, successful, and left behind signs of a thriving, mobile society. But then, nothing. Around 12,800 years ago, Clovis artifacts abruptly disappear from the archaeological record. There are no clear signs of war, no evidence of mass famine, and no obvious reasons why they would have ceased to exist. It's as if the culture simply evaporated, leaving behind only scattered tools and bones. This sudden disappearance has baffled archaeologists for decades, sparking numerous theories about what could have happened. One of the leading theories is the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis, which suggests that a comet or asteroid struck North America around 12,800 years ago, triggering massive environmental changes. According to this theory, the impact set off raging wildfires that burned across the continent, throwing so much debris into the air that it caused a rapid return to Ice Age conditions. This sudden shift in climate, known as the Younger Dryas cooling event, would have devastated the Clovis people's food sources, wiping out large prey animals and forcing a collapse of their way of life. Evidence of this cataclysmic event has been found in the form of a black mat layer, a thin, carbon-rich layer of sediment found at Clovis archaeological sites. This layer contains high levels of nanodiamonds, which some scientists believe are the result of an extraterrestrial impact. If true, the Clovis culture may have been one of the first human societies to fall victim to a global disaster. Another possibility is that the Clovis people didn't disappear at all. Instead, they adapted and merged with other emerging cultures. Some archaeologists suggest that as large Ice Age animals like mammoths and mastodons went extinct, the Clovis people were forced to change their way of life. Instead of relying on big-game hunting, they may have shifted to smaller prey and new survival strategies. This adaptation could have led to the rise of new cultures, such as the Folsom people, who appear in the archaeological record shortly after the Clovis. If this is true, then the Clovis people didn't vanish. They evolved, leaving behind their old ways and becoming something new. But there is another, more unsettling theory, one that suggests the Clovis people were wiped out by an unknown catastrophe. Some researchers point to evidence of ancient megafauna extinctions that occurred around the same time the Clovis disappeared. Mammoths, saber-toothed cats, and giant ground sloths all vanished within a short window of time, leading some to speculate that whatever caused their extinction may have also ended the Clovis culture. Whether it was disease, competition with other human groups, or an environmental disaster, something removed them from history with startling speed. Yet, there are even stranger clues that complicate the story. A growing body of evidence suggests that humans may have been in the Americas long before the Clovis people. Sites like Monteverde in Chile and the Galt site in Texas contain artifacts that predate the Clovis by thousands of years, challenging the long-held belief that they were the first Americans. If other groups were already present, then who were the Clovis, really? Were they an isolated culture, or were they part of a larger migration of people whose history has been lost? Some suggest that they may have been a remnant of an even older civilization, one that existed before the last Ice Age and was wiped from history by a disaster we can only guess at. Despite the many theories, the fate of the Clovis people remains one of archaeology's greatest unanswered questions. Did they succumb to climate change? Were they victims of a cosmic disaster? Or did they simply fade into other cultures, leaving behind only fragments of their existence? The truth remains buried, locked in the soil of ancient America. The Clovis people vanished, leaving behind tools, bones, and unanswered questions about their fate. Were they wiped out by a sudden cataclysm, or did they slowly fade into obscurity, their descendants blending into later civilizations? The past is full of stories like this, cultures that rose, flourished, and disappeared, leaving behind little more than clues for us to decipher. But sometimes, what they leave behind isn't just bones or artifacts. Sometimes, they leave behind something that defies logic altogether. Scattered across the lush rainforests and ancient riverbanks of Costa Rica, dozens of massive, near-perfect stone spheres lie half-buried in the earth. These aren't rough, misshapen boulders shaped by nature. These are man-made, precisely carved, and almost impossibly symmetrical. Some weigh over 15 tons, yet no one knows who made them, how they were transported, or why they exist at all. These mysterious objects, known as the stone spheres of Costa Rica, have baffled archaeologists for nearly a century. The story of these spheres began in the 1930s, when workers for the United Fruit Company were clearing land in the Gigas Delta for banana plantations. As they cut through the dense jungle, they started discovering these massive stone orbs, some of them perfectly round, others slightly weathered, but all strangely out of place. Some were grouped together in apparent patterns, while others were found alone, buried beneath centuries of sediment. At first, workers didn't know what to make of them. Some thought they were natural formations, while others believed they contained hidden treasures. In their excitement, several spheres were blown apart with dynamite, only to reveal nothing. No gold, no artifacts, just solid stone. As word of the discovery spread, archaeologists arrived to study them. The spheres were unlike anything found in the region before. They ranged in size from a few inches to over 8 feet in diameter, and many were carved with such precision that they seemed almost mathematically perfect. What made their creation even more astonishing was the material they were made from: granodiorite, a tough volcanic rock that isn't naturally found near the sites where the spheres were unearthed. This meant they had to have been quarried, shaped, and transported, a feat that would have required knowledge of advanced tools and engineering techniques. So who made them? One of the most widely accepted theories is that they were created by the Gigas culture, an indigenous civilization that thrived in Costa Rica between 700 and 1530 AD. The Gigas people were known for their sophisticated metalwork, pottery, and stone carvings, but nothing else in their archaeological record suggests they had the capability or the reason to create something as massive and precise as these spheres. No written records exist, and the Gigas civilization collapsed before European contact, leaving behind only these silent, unmarked relics. Theories about their purpose vary. Some believe they were status symbols, marking the homes of important leaders or high-ranking officials. Others suggest they were astronomical markers, aligned with the movements of the sun and stars. Some spheres were found in alignments that hint at a possible celestial purpose, but without written records, this remains speculative. More fringe theories propose that the spheres had a ritualistic or spiritual significance, possibly representing the cosmos or the cycle of life and death. Some indigenous legends speak of the spheres as thunderstones, created by the gods to protect the land. Others claim they were part of a lost network of ley lines, channels of energy that ancient civilizations supposedly tapped into. One of the most intriguing theories is that the spheres were used for navigation. Some researchers have suggested that they might have been part of an ancient mapping system, used by early civilizations to mark important locations, trade routes, or sacred sites. This would explain why some of them are found in clusters, while others appear to be isolated. Adding to the mystery is the fact that no tools or quarry sites have been found that explain how these stones were shaped. Granodiorite is an extremely hard rock, meaning that even with modern tools, shaping them into perfect spheres would be a difficult, time-consuming task. Some researchers believe the Gigas people may have used a combination of fire and water to weaken the rock before slowly carving it with stone tools, but even this doesn't fully explain their precision. The idea that they could have been moved over long distances is just as perplexing. Some spheres were discovered miles away from any known source of granodiorite, suggesting they were either rolled, dragged, or transported on wooden platforms. Without wheels or beasts of burden, moving these massive stones would have required an organized effort and a deep understanding of physics. The lack of definitive answers has led to more speculative theories, some of them bordering on the bizarre. Some claim the spheres were made with the help of extraterrestrials, using advanced technology that has since been lost. Others suggest they are remnants of a lost civilization, one that predates the Gigas people and left behind no other traces of its existence. While these ideas remain on the fringes of mainstream archaeology, they highlight just how little we truly understand about these mysterious objects. Over time, many of the spheres were removed from their original locations, taken to museums, private collections, or simply moved by farmers and landowners who didn't realize their historical significance. This has made studying their original placements difficult, adding yet another layer of mystery to their purpose. Today, some of the remaining spheres are protected as UNESCO World Heritage Sites, but many have been lost or damaged beyond repair. Despite decades of research, the stone spheres of Costa Rica remain an unsolved puzzle. Were they symbols of power, celestial markers, or something else entirely? We may never know. What is clear, however, is that they represent an extraordinary level of craftsmanship and ingenuity, one that challenges our understanding of ancient societies. And yet, they are far from the only lost structures that defy explanation. Across the world, entire cities and temples have disappeared, swallowed by the sea, buried beneath layers of earth, or simply erased from history. And in India, along its southeastern coast, a legend has persisted for centuries, one that speaks of a grand complex of temples, built so beautifully that the gods themselves grew jealous and cast them into the ocean. This is the mystery of the 7 pagodas of Mahabalipuram, a tale of lost temples, ancient engineering, and a modern discovery that may prove the legend true. Mahabalipuram, also known as Mamallapuram, is a historic town in the Indian state of Tamil Nadu, situated along the Bay of Bengal. Today, it is famous for its stunning rock-cut temples, intricate carvings, and monolithic structures that date back over 1,300 years. These temples, built during the Pallava dynasty in the 7th and 8th centuries, are known for their breathtaking craftsmanship and unique architectural style. But for centuries, local fishermen and travelers spoke of something more. A lost city beneath the waves, an entire series of temples that once stood proudly on the coastline before vanishing without a trace. The legend says that there were 7 magnificent pagodas, their towers reaching toward the sky, dazzling anyone who saw them. But the gods, angered by their grandeur, sent a massive flood that drowned all but one. The only surviving temple, Shore Temple, still stands today, a breathtaking structure sitting at the very edge of the sea, weathered by centuries of salt and wind. But was it truly once part of a larger lost complex? For years, historians debated whether the legend was simply mythology, a story passed down through generations without any basis in fact. But in 2004, everything changed. That year, one of the most powerful tsunamis in recorded history struck the Indian Ocean, devastating coastlines and reshaping entire landscapes. When the waves receded from Mahabalipuram's shores, something astonishing was revealed. Large stone structures, pillars, carved blocks, and what appeared to be temple foundations suddenly became visible, exposed for the first time in centuries. Witnesses described seeing massive walls and sculptures, their intricate carvings untouched by time. The discovery immediately caught the attention of archaeologists and marine researchers, who launched underwater explorations to investigate. What they found confirmed that something truly ancient lay beneath the waves. Diving teams explored the seabed and identified multiple submerged structures, some arranged in what appeared to be organized formations. Stone blocks, intricately carved relics, and evidence of man-made foundations suggested that a larger settlement or temple complex once stood here, only to be swallowed by the ocean. Some of the structures were found several hundred meters offshore, buried beneath layers of sand and marine growth. This discovery shook the archaeological world. The idea that entire cities or temple complexes could be hidden beneath the sea was no longer just folklore, it was reality. So what happened to the lost temples of Mahabalipuram? One theory suggests that they were destroyed by a massive natural disaster, possibly a tsunami or rising sea levels that gradually consumed the coastline over centuries. Given Mahabalipuram's location along the Bay of Bengal, it is highly susceptible to coastal erosion and flooding. Some experts believe that the temples weren't destroyed all at once, but were slowly reclaimed by the sea over hundreds of years, leaving only the shore temple standing as a reminder of what once was. Another theory ties the lost temples to the fabled Kumari Kandam, a mythical lost continent said to have once existed in the Indian Ocean. Some ancient Tamil legends speak of a highly advanced civilization that was submerged in a great flood, similar to the Atlantis myth. While there is no definitive evidence of such a landmass, the stories persist, fueling speculation that Mahabalipuram's lost temples could be part of something even greater. There's also the possibility that these temples were deliberately abandoned as dynasties changed, and new rulers focused their attention elsewhere. Over time, the remaining structures may have been weakened by storms, earthquakes, and the gradual encroachment of the sea, disappearing piece by piece beneath the waves. But one of the most intriguing aspects of the Seven Pagodas legend is the idea that some of the submerged structures are still intact, hidden just beyond the reach of modern exploration. The 2004 tsunami gave us a brief glimpse of what might be down there, but since then, shifting sands and powerful tides have concealed much of it once again. Underwater archaeology is still a developing field, and new technologies, like sonar mapping and remote-operated vehicles, could one day help uncover the full extent of Mahabalipuram's lost temples. Some researchers believe that more expeditions could reveal entire temple foundations, submerged carvings, and possibly even ancient inscriptions that tell us more about who built these structures and why they were lost. For now, the shore temple remains a solitary sentinel, standing where land meets sea, guarding the secrets of its long-lost companions. But the discovery of underwater ruins has forever changed the way we see this place. What was once dismissed as mere legend now has physical evidence, proving that the ocean holds far more of our history than we ever realized. And Mahabalipuram isn't the only place where ancient ruins have been swallowed by the sea. Across the world, entire cities have vanished beneath the waves, leaving behind only scattered ruins and whispered stories. Off the coast of Europe, beneath the waves of the North Sea, lies evidence of an even greater loss. A land that once connected Britain to mainland Europe, teeming with life, home to thousands of people, until one day, it was gone. This is the story of Doggerland, the prehistoric civilization lost to time and tide, a place where humans once thrived, before nature erased it completely. Tens of thousands of years ago, the world was a very different place. Much of the Earth's water was locked in vast ice sheets, lowering sea levels and exposing massive land masses that are now hidden beneath the oceans. One of these lost lands was Doggerland, a vast stretch of land that once connected present-day Britain, the Netherlands, Denmark, and Germany. It wasn't just a barren plain, it was a thriving ecosystem, a landscape of rolling hills, wide rivers, and dense forests. For thousands of years, it was home to early humans, hunter-gatherers, who followed migrating herds, fished its waters, and built their lives in a world now lost beneath the sea. The first hints of Doggerland's existence came not from history books or ancient texts, but from fishermen. For centuries, trawlers working the North Sea have pulled up strange artifacts, tools, bones, and even ancient skulls, all dredged up from the seabed. Some of these remains belong to animals like woolly mammoths and saber-toothed cats, while others clearly came from humans, evidence that people had once walked across this submerged world. But it wasn't until the 20th century that scientists began to understand what they were dealing with. Advances in sonar mapping and underwater archaeology revealed something astonishing: an entire prehistoric landscape frozen in time beneath the waves. Riverbeds, hills, even the faint outlines of what might have once been settlements were mapped out under the North Sea. What had once been a lush and habitable land was now a vast, empty seabed. So what happened? Doggerland didn't disappear overnight, but rather, through a slow and relentless process. As the Ice Age ended and temperatures rose, glaciers melted, causing sea levels to rise. Slowly, year by year, the waters crept in, forcing its inhabitants to retreat. But then, around 8,000 years ago, something catastrophic happened. An event that sealed Doggerland's fate. It's known as the Storegga Slide, one of the largest underwater landslides ever recorded. Somewhere off the coast of Norway, a massive chunk of seabed collapsed, triggering a mega tsunami. Walls of water, some reaching over 30 feet high, crashed into Doggerland's coastline, swallowing villages, drowning forests, and sweeping entire communities away. What had been a sprawling land bridge between Britain and Europe was suddenly cut off, fragmented into islands before vanishing completely beneath the waves. For the people living there, the Storegga tsunami must have been apocalyptic. Some may have survived, fleeing to higher ground in Britain or continental Europe. Others were likely caught in the waves, their homes and lives erased in a matter of hours. And just like that, Doggerland was gone. But could some remnants still be hiding beneath the sea? The North Sea is an unforgiving place for archaeologists. Its waters are murky, its seabed constantly shifting. But over the years, new discoveries have continued to emerge. Human tools, fragments of wooden structures, and even ancient footprints preserved in mud, offering a glimpse into the lives of Doggerland's last inhabitants. In 2018, researchers using advanced sonar detected what appeared to be evidence of ancient human settlements, buried under layers of sediment. Some even believe that entire villages, perhaps even burial sites, could still be out there, perfectly preserved beneath the seabed. But perhaps the biggest question of all is whether Doggerland could ever be fully explored. Unlike other lost civilizations, this one is hidden under a shallow but treacherous sea where storms and currents make